So welcome back to another tutorial. This is 1 minute strategy. So I'm Aqua FX. I don't want this video to be too long. It's a 1 minute strategy. This 1 minute strategy is 80%, 70% win rate. When we said 50, when we said 50, 60, 70, 80% win rate, it means if you are taking like 10 trade, you can win 7, you can lose you can win 7 and lose 3. Or if you are taking 10 trades, you can win 5 and you lose 5. That is 50-50, 50%. So this strategy is 70% win rate. So I have to go to my chart and show you how you can implement this 1 minute strategy step by step. It's a strategy which you can risk $10 to make $100 to $200, $100 to $200. You risk $10 to make $100 or $200 or $150. So it depends on the pair you are using. But based on this strategy, I'm going to be using just a volatile pair, which is gold. I'm going to use gold as a volatile pair. So let's get straight to the chart. Let's do what we know how to do best. So on my screen here, let's illustrate. We are going to make use of only M15 candle. Only M15 candle to map out everything. And secondly, this strategy is for you to raise your $100 to $10,000 in a year. This is because only one entry of this strategy can give you 1:50 RR, 1:30 RR, 1:20 if you follow the instruction. And secondly, you will not be able to take trade every day on this chart. It's just for you to be patient and wait for it to happen. So here, this happens to be our M15. Once you come to the market, you have to mark out your M15, the candle. You mark out this candle before London session open. This will be a candle that you mark before London session open. So on your M15, after which you mark the high, wait for London session to happen. So this happens to be the high, and here happens to be the low here and the high here. So you wait for London session to open. The London session is this box here. You've seen that this market consolidates inside this box, consolidated, and then after a while, this market break out of this high. It break out of this high. It break out of this M15 high. Sorry, this has to happen inside London session. This has to happen during London session. So once that happened, once it broke out of that M15 candle which you marked, once the market broke out of that M15 candle which you marked, that is where this week, the week of this M15 candle becomes what you are looking at, the week. We are talking about the week here. If it is a sell scenario, the same thing, we are talking about the week. So we are talking about the week. The market has to come down to this week. That is, if it is taking out the high, you want to be expecting a buy back up. So you wait for the market to come back to this week here. Once the market comes back to the week, you have to move down to a smaller time frame now. You have to move down to a smaller time frame, which is your 1 minute. On your 1 minute, once you move down to your 1 minute, there is something you have to do. You will not blindly take a trade. So once this market move down to your 1 minute, you have to wait for a candle, for a zone. You have to look for that leg that broke a zone, on this week. There was M15 zone inside this. There was M1 1 minute zone. There was 1 minute zone inside this week, this M15 week, that led to a break of structure. to the upside, something like this, something like this. There's the same thing is what we have here. The same thing is what we have here. We have a zone here that pushes down, and then it end up breaking structure to the upside and then pulling back to that zone. So that is the same thing you will look for around here. That zone that leads to a break of structure from this place here. So you look for that zone, you wait for the market to come in. Once that market come into that zone, don't worry, it will be clearer to you once we get to the main chart. It will be clearer to you. So once the market come into the main zone, network is disturbing. Network just took out what I was doing. So once the market comes back to the main zone, once this market come back to the main zone, that is where you are going to look for an entry, and you take this trade to the upside. So you will not just take a trade to the upside, you will look for a fib. Then I'll pick my fib. Since this is a buy trade, I'm going to take my fib. Once I pick my fib, I'm going to fib that 1 minute zone. I'm going to fib that 1 minute zone. So I'll fib the 1 minute. It has to be the wick of the 1 minute zone. So once I fib it, my entry will be around 0.786 retracement, which is this green line of my fib zone. Here will be my entry on this strategy. So once I enter the trade this way, I'm going to TP any of the zone. I have to go to my 5 minutes or 3 minutes. No, this is scalping. You just stick and it's just London. Maybe 2-hour trade is what you are looking at here. It's just the London session and you are done. So I'm going to TP 3 minute or 5 minute zone, or the high that the market was coming from. That is where I'm going to TP it. And this very little trade can give you 1:20, 1:40, 1:60, 1:30. Depends on the zones, what the zone created for you. So it depends on the zone. This doesn't depend on you. It may be 1:10, 1:50, 1:60. If the zone is large enough, it can easily give you 1:100 just on this one small trade. So let's go to the main chart. Let me show you how to implement this step by step. Do not forget to turn on subscribing button. So let's get to the chart. On gold M15. I'll show you the reason why I'm on M15. From M15, we are heading to our 1 minute. I just want everything to be very clear. It have to be very clear. And I like making use of sessions whenever we are trading. Whenever I'm trading, I like making use of sessions. I don't do anything without sessions. So this very strategy I'm going to show it to you guys has to deal with sessions. It's either London or New York session. But based on this right strategy, because for it to work, you have to follow the rules. So based on this right strategy, I'm going to be making use of London session. So therefore, I'm going to be using Lux Algo indicator. For most of you who don't know how to use Lux Algo, if you don't know how to use sessions indicator, just go through my videos. You search how you can make use of this Lux Algo indicator step by step. So the only thing you are going to be looking at now, it is for you to make sure that your Lux Algo indicator is being set. So I will enable my Lux Algo indicator. So it was already on my chart. I just click on it and it is being enabled. So on this page, the only thing I would like to do, this is my M15. The only thing I would like to do is for me to mark a candle before the London open. I have to mark the M15 candle, the high and the low before the London open. If the candle, no matter how short is the candle, that is what I'm going to mark. So take note. So right here, there was a candle here before this London sessions open. We had this candle here, this very one, before London open. The London is this very box. This box here is my London sessions. So I have to mark the high of the candle and also the low of this candle. I mark the high. I'm marking the high. So that is the high of the candle, and I have to mark the low. Here is the low of that candle. I have to mark this. I have to make sure this is being done before the London session itself open. So after I've marked it out, I have to wait for London session to open. So once London session open, we don't want a week. We do not want a week. Once London session open, the only thing I'm going to concentrate on is the high and the low of the candle. So I would like to see the market taking out this high or the low. So once the candle takes out the high or the low, it has to close above. So on this scenario, the market did not close below the low. The market closed above the high of the week. If I trace this candle, you see that a candle closed above the wick of that candle. So here was the wick of the candle, which we had a candle closure on this candle. This happens to be a candle that was responsible for that. So since we've gotten a candle that lead to breaks of the high, two side, you have to pick one. You cannot take the two side. It either take one. So once that happen, you look for your setup and you go long or sell. If it happens to be a loss for that day, you stay off from the market that day. This is how you can grow that little account balance that you have. So once that happen, you have to mark the wick of the candle that led to the break of the high. So I have to mark. Then I marked this wick. This is the wick of that candle. So I mark the wick. I have to scale it down to the future. I have to scale it down to the future. This is M15. So I've just scaled the wick of the M15. I just scaled the wick of the M15 to the future. So now this is when the 1 minute strategy comes in. You are using only one candle here. There is nothing. It's not too hard to follow. Just follow the instructions, the rule, step by step. So after this is being done, I have to move to my 1 minute. So do not forget to subscribe. If this is your first time on this channel, please do well to subscribe. If you're already a subscriber, thanks for watching. And if you want to reach out to me, you can check the link. You check this video description, you will see the link where you can reach me one-on-one, or you follow my free Telegram channel. The link is also on this video description. So on my 1 minute right here. I'm on my 1 minute now. So take note of everything. So here on my 1 minute, you can see where I marked. You can see where I draw. See, here was the wick that we marked from our M15. So once this happened, you see this wick. You see this wick. Once that happened, see, there was a candle. You are looking for a candle that led to a break. Here was the candle. We have only one zone here. We don't have another zone. This is the candle that is closer to this very zone that we marked. So that is the only zone we have here. So therefore, we are going to make use of that zone. That is the only nearest zone that we got from that place. And Secondly, we have imbalance, very sweet, that will make this zone very, very relevant for us. So once we've gotten our zone and our candle, what else are we going to do? It is for you to place your trade. If you notice that the wick of the candle is longer, if you notice that the wick of the candle is longer than the body, here is the body. Here is the body. If the wick of that candle is longer than the body, the only thing you will do is for you to measure the wick. You have to measure the wick. How will you measure? You take your fib and you measure the candle wick. So how are we going to achieve that? That is what I'm going to show you now. This is the only way you can grow your small capital. So I'm going to fib. Since this is a buy setup, I'm going to fib from the below, that is from the low till where the wick started from. So I just fibbed it. So after which I fibbed, you can either choose 50% of this zone. You can choose 50% of this line, which is this one. So if you are choosing 50% of this very low, this means your stop loss has to be times 2 of this, or one of this should be added to your stop loss. If you are choosing this 0.618 retracement level, that is to say the 0.7 should be your stop loss. But if you are choosing the 0.786 fib retracement level, that is to say your stop loss should go below this wick, where the wick comes from. So therefore, I'm going to choose 0.618. No, let me just go with the 0.786. This is because my capital is very small. I'm willing to risk just $1. Let me see what the $1, where the $1 will take me to. Maybe you have like $20 account and you say, oh, this $20, you want to see how you can grow this $20 to a bigger capital. So this is the kind of setup you would like to take. This is the kind of setup that you would like to take. So therefore, I'll place my trade at this level. I'll place my trade here. Your stop loss will come a bit below this zone, below the wick, a bit below the wick. And you may go to your 5 minutes and look for where you will TP. If you want to grow a $30 account and you wish to risk 1%, or you wish to risk $1 per trade, you know what it is. That $1 on $30 account, I don't know what it is, but you can try to calculate and see what it is. So you trying to use this strategy to grow that account, it will give you a massive profit. So let's go to our 5 minutes chart and look for a particular zone which we can target. No, this is our buy setup. I will also show you how you can deal with the sell setup. So I'm going to my 5 minutes time frame now to see a zone where I can take my TP. So here was my entry, and I can use this possible high here to TP, which is this high. This very place here can be where I will TP. This very place can be where I will TP. And also I can go to the left and look for a zone where I can TP. Another place I can TP will be this high here. It will be this very high here, where the market stop and return back to the zone. So that is where I will TP as my second high. And the third high I will TP will be, I'll look up and look for a particular zone where I can TP. But for the sake of this tutorial, since it is 1 minute strategy, I would not like to go too far when it comes to this. So since it is 1 minute, I'll just pull back to my 3 minutes and look for a particular zone that could be suitable for me. So I'll look for a zone on my 3 minutes that will be okay or suitable for me to TP, because you do not want to hold it too long. That is why you are looking for a pay that is very, very, very volatile. So looking at your 3 minutes chart, you are still looking for where you could TP. Okay, we see a zone here. We see this zone here. We see this very place. You see this here. You see here was a retracement. So before this market come into this zone, so you can either place your TP around this zone. This is your, you can place your TP around there, because that is OB. You place your TP around there. Then if you TP that place, you see this small setup now will give you 1:73 RR just by using one candlestick, just one M15 candlestick to do this. Just one M15 candlestick will give you everything that you want. So once you see a setup like this, you take. Once you don't see it, you stay away from that market that day. Or if you take a setup like this, it happens to be a win, fine. If it happens to be a loss, you stay out from the market that day. I always said it, whenever you want to take a trade, you should make sure that if you lose in three trade in a week, you've done that week. Especially when you want to grow a small account, if you lose three trade in a week, you've done that week. Let's say you are using $100 account. Yeah, let's say you are trading $100 account and you choose to risk 3% per trade. Note, you losing three times that week, you have already lost more than 10%, because the trade you are taking, broker will take their own percentages for you placing trade on their platform. So if you are risking 3%, you are done, you are down 10% that week. So 10, 10, 30, 10, 20, 30, 40. 4 weeks, 4 weeks, you are already almost 40% down on a particular, on that account. So if you choose to risk 2% per trade, it's still very good. It's a very good milestone for you to go. 2%, okay, if you risk 2% per trade, you will lose 6%. Then added the broker fees, you may either lose everything add together, you may lose something like 10 or $6 plus some. Let's say you may lose 6, 7, 8, $9 that week. 6, 7, 8. It's still almost it's still almost 10%. So if you want to risk, you want to trade all the 5 days of the week and you keep losing, you still keep trading, you know that your losses are compounding and you can blow the account. Because when you are trying to trade a very small account, I don't like going 1:1. I do not like it. I don't know. I don't like it. So this is this for this strategy. Only this one trade can gives you more than 1:70 something RR, and you are out and you are done that day. So let's look for a sell setup of this very trade. Let's look for a sell setup. Okay, let's check this very zone. Let's go to M15 though. So let's go to M15. So on my M15, you see a candle. We are talking about a candle before the London session open. So we have this candle here. We got this candle here. A sell setup, we got this candle here. So you have to mark the candle high and low. So we mark this very one. We mark that one. We mark the high and we marked the low. We marked the low. So what happened during London session? This market closed below that low, the low. That is to say, we are going to sell. The market closed below this low. So that is to say, we are going to sell. So you will mark the low of that candle which lead to close below that zone. We marked, here was the low. We marked the low, which is the wick. We marked the wick. So you marking this wick, you are expecting the market to come into the nearest zone inside this wick and buy back up. So here was our wick. Yes, our wick is completely marked. So let's see what the market did. Let's see what happened. So we have to move down to our 1 minute right now. Let's move to our 1 minute. Do not forget to subscribe. So this is our 1 minute. On our 1 minute, let us check the zone. Okay, here we've seen, here was the zone that comes out from this zone that we marked, and there is imbalance here. This is to say, once this market come, it will tap into this zone and it will sell down. So what happened? It is time for us to flip our zone. So since this is a sell setup, we are flipping from the high to the low. We have a lot of candles here, so I think we should stop here because of we have that wick. If not, this is where it's supposed to be, but no, we will stop it here because we have a candle here. So we stopped it there. So after we stopped it there, it's for us to scale down for our entry. We scale down for our entry. You see what happened here? The market could not make it up to any of that zone. So market could not make it up to any of this zone. Note, whatever you are doing, it's your London session. Once your London session closes, you are no longer taking a trade here. So what happened? After the London session closes, the market come and grabbed your stop losses. That is to say, if your trade was still open after this London session, you have gotten stop out. But if your trade was not open during this time, this day was your lucky day. You do not take any trade and you did not take any loss. So this is what I say. Let me share it with you guys, because this very strategy is very, very powerful. Hold it tight. This strategy is very, very powerful. So this is where I'll stop today. I remain Aqua FX as I sign now. But if you want to know how we trade, you want to learn the way I trade personally, you can check me out. So I remain Aqua FX. Peace.